Welcome to this week's edition of the Heat Check podcast. We've been off for the last few weeks, but we're back. My name is Anthony Chang. I cover the Heat for the Miami Herald. David Wilson is not here today, but we do have the Associated Press's Tim Reynolds. Tim, how are you?
Oh, I was bored. There's nothing There's nothing happening. There's nothing to say.
You're doing this pod just to fill some time?
We're taping it on Wednesday afternoon. Nothing has really happened in the last couple of hours. I'm just sitting here waiting to go up to Inter Miami tonight to find out that Lionel Messi is probably not playing.
And then you're leaving, right?
I got bigger problems than Dame, but yeah. How are you? How
okay.
You doing?
It's been a relaxing off season up until today. We've dealt with this Dame stuff now for almost 3 months. He made his trade request on July 1.
Yep.
Made it known he wanted to play for the Heat, right? Dame never said it, but through various parties, made it known that he wants to play for the Heat. The Heat obviously had talks with Portland initially, right? Things have been pretty quiet the last few months. And then today, after this week, I guess the Raptors were labeled as a front runner for Damian Lillard. Today, a mystery team, Milwaukee Bucks, who I guess there was some buzz around the Bucks maybe getting in for Lillard, but nothing to this magnitude. There was a Woj bomb reporting that Damian Lillard has been traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. What was your reaction when you saw the news?
Relief it was over. And then my next reaction was, I've worried so much about all the people that have tweeted out 93 billion things in the last 2 months about this trade. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense that Milwaukee would be the team that goes all in. That made a lot of sense to me. I mean, look, Giannis put them not on blast. Giannis has said this before. He told the New York Times a few weeks ago, I want commitment. I want to be shown that we're going to win here. I want to be shown that the team is all in on winning. Well, you bring in Dame and the $200 million that he's owed over the next 4 years, you're all in. You're all in on winning. So it's a great deal for Milwaukee. I think it's a really bad deal for Portland. I think it's not a great deal for Phoenix. But it's a great deal for Milwaukee, and it's a terrible deal for Heat fans.
Yeah.
I think you take that out of it. If I step out of my Heat beat writer shoes for a second and shift to my national NBA writer shoes for a second, I think it's a really good trade for Damian Lillard. I mean, it's not what he wanted, but he'll report. He'll be a pro. You play with Giannis. You play with Chris Middleton. They're good guys there. Brook Lopez is one of the best guys in the league. Yeah, it's an aging roster, sure, but whatever. Everybody, all 30 teams, well, not all of them, but most of these teams in the league right now are in win right now mode. Milwaukee's all in on winning this year, and then they'll figure out later.
Yeah, and we should note that shortly after the news broke, Damian Lillard tweeted he's excited for his next chapter. So that basically, like you said, basically means he's going to report. He'll be there for camp. He seems to be okay with the trade, right? He wanted to go to Miami, but it just did not happen. Like you said, Portland's return, interesting, right? They get DeAndre Ayton, who is talented. They get a pick from Milwaukee, a pick swap, and they also get Drew Holiday, which seems like they're going to flip Drew Holiday for more assets. So I guess it's still to be determined kind of what the complete return is, right, for Damian Lillard, because it'll depend on what they get for Drew. Do you feel like, not that our opinion matters, right, but this is our podcast, so we're going to make our opinion known, but do you feel like that return that Portland got is clearly better than, we don't know what he was offering, right? But what was rumored to be the offer from the Heat, or what we think probably the Heat got to as far as their offer?
It's hard to envision a scenario where what Portland got was the best offer on their table. It's impossible to think that that's all they could have gotten. And look, Ayton he has been a really good player. He's also been one of the most enigmatic players in the league. It's a huge risk. I get it. I mean, obviously, look, they were going to get a big. They decided they were going to get a big. For people that are going to watch this, Anthony and I are reading the same text right now. Like, stuff's not done, people.
No, it's not. It's not. Our phones are. Yeah.
By the time you hear this podcast, stuff's going to happen. And we're probably going to have to redo this pod later on tonight. So
let's hope not.
Maybe should we? You know, we should try swearing. Let's swear in it. We have to do it again. What even were we talking about? No, it's not a good deal for Portland. It's a bad deal for Portland. But you know what? It's hard to envision any trade of Damian Lillard where you're going to be like, Portland did okay in this trade. Like, you lost Damian Lillard. You lost the trade. When Joe Cronin sat down with some of us in Vegas 3 months ago, and he said, I failed Damian Lillard. Yeah, he did. He failed Dame for the last 18 months. And he failed him. He failed Portland today. He didn't fail Dame today. He failed Portland today by this trade. So, yes, it's incumbent now. What do you get for Drew Holiday? Drew Holiday deserves better than this at the end of his career. Drew Holiday's a winner. Drew Holiday's a champion, Olympic gold medalist. I hope that they're not going to keep him there to mentor a bunch of young guards and teach them how to play defense. Like, he deserves better than that for the final years of his career. So what they get for him will be important. And I know Twitter, I'm sure, has already said, well, the Heat should just give everything they were going to give for Dame for Drew Holiday.
Oh, that's where he started.
It does not work that way, people.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
That's already started.
But can we say, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Had you been told at any point in the last 6 months or so that Drew Holiday would be in a Miami Heat uniform this season? If you had been told that, who told you that?
It was a very credible reporter, but I don't want to reveal my sources. He might be on this podcast with me.
That's fair. Don't out your sources. Never out your source.
He might, but you did say that, right? You did make that prediction, and now
you outed me.
Yes, I'm sorry. It didn't take me long. We'll get to that real quick. Portland never re-engaged the Heat before accepting this final offer.
Is
that surprising? Is that surprising to you?
Nope.
Not that they had to, right? They don't have to do that. But
look, I'm going to say something I shouldn't right now. Help me understand, because you've lived and died with this story every day for the last 3 months. I got to go to Manila and cover a team that finished 4th at the World Cup. I got, the summer off, except working every day, just doing other stuff. Explain to me how this is a failure by Miami.
Yeah.
It's a failure for Miami. It's a loss for Miami. They wanted Damian Lillard. They didn't get Damian Lillard. That's a loss. Yes.
Sure.
If your house is for sale, if your incredibly talented interior designer of a wife wants to redo the inside of someone's home, but they don't let her in the front door, how is that a loss for her if the person won't let her in the house? Like, I don't understand. Make me understand how this is a failure by Miami. Portland was not going to be a team that said, Dame, fine, we'll let you go.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll let you pick where you want to be. That was never going to, it was clear. It was never going to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that's the thing I don't understand. And that's the Twitter reaction, is that Miami blew this. I don't see how. Like, Portland did not re-engage. Period, full stop. And if they did, it was half-hearted. Like, we don't know who said what. I'm sure calls were made.
Yeah.
But, like, it was evident from day one. Portland was not going to move Damian Lillard to Miami. That's it.
I think the people who say they didn't talk since Summer League, I don't think that's 100% correct. I think they have spoken. But
it's how you define talk.
It's how exactly. It's all semantics. There hasn't been a substantial conversation between the two teams probably since early July. I think that's fair.
I think in early July it was made clear, nope, we're not giving him what he wants.
Yeah.
And there was no change off that stance.
Right.
And that's kind of where it is. And where it was.
And also the reports of that the Heat didn't know what Portland wanted. Like, Portland wouldn't give them a roadmap, and they were in big. I don't think that's. I think I think both sides kind of knew where each other stood. They had a fundamental disagreement of what the trade compensation should be for Damian Lillard, and that never was resolved.
Well, and also too, like you can't, like, okay, so here's everything that was out there. Let's just throw it into one big basket. The most Miami could have done, and for the purposes of this sentence, we're going to, or for this paragraph, freely acknowledging that the money will not work in this scenario. Let's figure that out later.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, Caleb Martin, you weren't going to trade them all, but throw them all in, picks and swaps. Okay, those were the principles that were involved in this thing, right? There will be people that say, like, the Heat wouldn't trade Caleb. Like, stop it. You're getting Damian Lillard. You're trading anybody but Jimmy and Bam for Damian Lillard. That's first thing. There's a point, though, where if you give up Kyle and Tyler, who's your backup point guard at that point? Is it Jimmy? Is it Drew Smith? Like, I don't know. I mean,
is it Goran?
Is it Goran? It would have been Goran. You can't give up 6 players to get 1. Like, so there were limits. I mean, for people that would say that, like, Miami didn't go far, there were limits to what teams would do. There's always a limit. Like, everybody's got a price, but everybody also has, like, a final offer.
Yeah.
So
and it's a competitive offer compared to what Portland got, right? If the Heat would have gone in on this and DeAndre Ayton would have been involved in a 3-team deal with the Heat and Blazers and Suns. If the Heat sends, let's say, Tyler Hero and Nikola Jovic and 1 first-round pick or 2 first-round picks, that's
and a swap and
that's a competitive offer as compared to what they got.
You can even put Kyle in that.
Right.
Like, it's still, it's better than what they got. And again, so, for whatever reason, they didn't want Tyler Hero. Look, I said this 2 months ago. I think I've said it to you privately and whatever. If the worst case scenario for Eric Spoelstra at practice number 1 at Boca on Tuesday is Tyler Hero's the starting point guard and Kyle Lowry's the backup point guard for the team that just went to the NBA Finals, yes, no Gabe Vincent, yes, no Max Strus, and those are big holes. If the worst case scenario is you go to camp with a pissed off Tyler Hero, okay. Like, no, I mean, the Heat, I don't think they got markedly better this summer, but there were definitely ways for this team to get, there were opportunities missed in the regular season. They captured lightning in a bottle in the playoffs, no question.
Yeah.
I think it's, I would not automatically pencil them in as going back to the finals, but to look at their roster as currently constructed, and as you look at your phone, you know the roster's going to change before we finish posting this.
It might not be the big move you guys want, but there are going to be some.
It's not going to be a big move. I think we're talking about similar things, and there's a couple things happening.
Yeah, we're recording this, by the way, on Wednesday afternoon, like 2 hours after the news of the trade broke. So when you listen to this on Thursday,
it's 4:35 Eastern right now.
Yeah.
So timestamp where we're at.
Yes. Yeah.
We're telling you something's going to happen. Anthony knows it, and it's something's going to happen.
The tease that won't be a tease by the time people listen to this. To that point,
Inter Miami has won the U.S. Open Cup too. We'll edit that part out if they lose.
Messi scored 3 goals, or
Messi scored 2 goals and an assist. Actually, it was an own goal. Soccer's strange. The whole soccer assist thing. I don't.
Secondary. I mean, it's kind of like hockey, right? A little bit.
I would much rather have the hockey assist. I would much rather go to double assists in soccer. You know what they do in FIBA, by the way?
What?
The FIBA assist. I mean, I knew this. I wonder if you know this. You pass me the ball, I get fouled, I go to the free throw line, and I score. Do you know you get an assist in the FIBA game for that?
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's a change the NBA should make, but they never will, because then the assist numbers for all time would be skewed.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
that makes
not what the people wanted to hear about was FIBA basketball rule nuances.
That's interesting. I did not know that, actually. That's interesting. Is that a rule overseas too, like other leagues around the world?
I think so. I think pretty much like the Euro League and all those other. Yeah. I think they basically go by the FIBA rulebook. Yeah.
Okay. To your previous point about the Heat doing what, making an effort to get Dame. I asked Aaron Goodwin, Damian Lillard's agent, did the Heat push hard enough? Do you feel like the Heat pushed hard enough? And his quote to me on the record was, they did everything they could to acquire Dame. It takes two to get a deal done. I appreciate all that Pat, Andy, and Mickey did to try and make this happen. Now, Twitter will say that he's carrying water for the Heat and he's trying to do damage control for the Heat. He has no reason to do that. Okay? The Heat tried to do this. They had a price, yes. They weren't going to trade half their roster for Damian Lillard, but they made an effort. Portland just did not like the Heat's assets for whatever reason. Whether you think it's by, I'm not saying it is that.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. It wasn't the assets. It was the ask.
Yeah.
They were not going to send him to Miami.
Yeah. No.
And they could say they didn't like the assets. Fine. Maybe they also simultaneously did not like the assets. They weren't sending him here. And that's okay. That's their prerogative.
Yeah.
Cool. But like, I just, to go back to the house analogy, like, look, if you've tried to buy a house in South Florida right now, if you're not paying over, if you're not offering over, I mean, how many people do you know that have gone over full ask to bid on a house? And
almost
they don't
everybody
get the house.
I know. Almost everybody that's like looking to buy a house, they have to do that. Yeah.
And then they don't get the house, and then they can't figure out why. That was the deal here. Like, Miami probably went over full ask, yet the seller didn't want to sell to them. They sold to someone else. That's what it, to me, that's forever going to be what it was. But you're going to see, we talk way too much about people on Twitter that we shouldn't talk about. Like this, just the whole notion of,
you're right.
The front office is washed. They played in the finals 4 months ago.
2 of the last 4 years they made the finals. Eastern Conference Finals, 3 of the last 4 years. Yeah.
3 of the last 4 years in the East Finals, 2 of the last 4 years in the finals. So washed. So terrible.
I don't remember, like, again, we can get past this because it doesn't matter, but
you know the last time the Knicks were in the finals, by the way? When's 99? The last time the Knicks were in the finals? No, 1812. 1812. The New York Knicks have not been in the finals since the Civil War.
Sounds right.
I think I'm right. That sounds right. Sounds good.
I mean, I don't remember this much negativity surrounding a team that made the finals. It's weird. But
go back to 2020.
2021, right? It
was probably the same thing then.
Yeah, no, is this, with all that being said, I think we both feel like the Heat tried to make this happen. Yeah. And some of it was out of their control. But is this the worst possible outcome for the Heat? Considering he's traded to a East rival?
Yeah. I mean, there's only 2 outcomes. I mean, you get him or you don't. I think the whole East rival thing, they have kind of done okay against Milwaukee.
They have. Yeah. Not with Dame there, but yes, they have.
Not with Dame there.
And Drew is a very good player.
And Drew's listen, Dame is 33, 32 or 33.
33.
Going into year 12. Yet, if anybody dares to suggest that dude is on the decline, they're out of their mind. He is elite. Period.
Yeah.
Elite. That dude scored 71 last season.
Yeah.
Not 8 years ago. Like, he
scores 30 a game. Like, he's a 30. He wakes up and scores 30 points.
He's an absolute bleeping problem. 100%. And he's taking great care of himself. Like, Dame's a problem. Milwaukee got better. Zero question about that. But I still think from Miami's perspective, it's the worst possible outcome because really there was only 2. The rest of it is all fill in the blank. Any team that got Dame was going to get a lot better. So they didn't get him, so it's the worst possible outcome. Yes.
Drew Holiday.
I can't wait for that to get aggregated.
Tim Reynolds says, worst possible outcome. Please, aggregators, don't aggregate us.
Oh my God.
I know it's a popular thing to do now on podcasts. Everyone to say, don't aggregate me. Please don't aggregate us. That would be.
Hang on.
Nobody likes being aggregated.
Oh my God. Here, we haven't even posted it yet. The Central Dunk says, Anthony Chang says, don't aggregate me. Right there. See? Is it Central Dunk? It's Dunk Central, not Central.
I don't know anymore. I don't know.
I don't care.
I still say NBA Central. Drew Holiday. We said we would get there. Do you think? I mean, that's going to take Portland, Miami doing business, right? For that to happen. But
I'm going to lean no on this one.
How do you feel about that possibility? I know it's just so soon after this happened, and this kind of just became a possibility. But
Well,
what's your initial reaction?
Andy and Pat and Nick and all the other brain trust at the Heat, like they're not going to not engage. If Portland calls about Drew Holiday, you're not going to hang up the phone and say, you bleepity, bleepity, bleeps, 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 because, there's a chance to get a good player. It's the notion that they're just going to give them whatever they were going to give for Dame. Well, just give us, obviously you want to get rid of these guys.
Yeah.
So give us them for Drew. That's not happening. But Dame with Bam and Jimmy was super exciting for a billion reasons. And not just because that would be also about the tax amount, but that's another story. Drew, Bam, Jimmy, Caleb, whomever. That's a pretty good defensive closing unit right there. That's
elite. That's elite. Yeah, for sure.
So do the Heat go back to we're going to win games with defense at the end? Then Drew's going to appeal to any team that wants to win a championship. Drew Holiday is going to appeal to. Like, he's a winner. He's a class person. He's an all-time guy. Like,
two-way player too. He fits exactly. He fits the Heat mold. I mean, he fits any mold, but
he fits everybody.
Yeah,
he fits St. Thomas Aquinas's girls program.
Right.
Shout out Oliver, 3-time state champions. Good job. But like, you have to engage. Like, you can't not engage.
Yeah.
Just because you have to engage. If Drew Holiday's available, the task is always when a player becomes available, how does he make your team better? You have to do your due diligence. You cannot sit there and say, nope, we're mad at Portland. We're not doing this. No, you have to do it.
I'm going to ask this question, and I know it's a tough one, but
I can tell the look on your face. I'm not going to like this.
If Portland asked for Tyler Hero, and they asked for the same deal, let's say that he was initially offering for Dame, is that a non-starter for Drew? In your eyes, this is all opinion. This is not reporting. This is all opinion. I mean, Drew's he can be a free agent next year. That's the thing. He's a player option.
I do not trade Tyler Hero for Drew Holiday.
I wouldn't either.
I'm going to go against my rule in that the summer Instagram MVPs, which, Ben Simmons has won like 4 years in a row before this year, they never really turn into anything. Tyler looks like a different player.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, why am I swayed by what I'm seeing on Instagram from him? Actually, and part of it is I've talked to people who have been to some of those workouts. Yeah, the Instagram stuff is, I'm here doing this at 5:16 a.m. Well, that's great.
Janitor time.
You could do the same work at noon.
Yeah.
But, I appreciate the commitment that you're doing it at 5:16. People that I know that are familiar with what he's done, not everything, but with a lot of what he's done this summer, they're like, this is real. Like, they're excited by what they're seeing from Tyler. And those are people who, by the way, prioritize Tyler over the Heat. Like, those are, so just so everybody knows,
Tyler people. Yeah.
It's not just Heat people sitting there and saying, wow, we got a great player here.
Right.
Like, the Heat do believe that, but these are Tyler people saying that. So.
Yeah. And I know this only matters to a certain extent, but you are going to get a very motivated Tyler Hero after all this conversation in the offseason.
So it's going to be, do we look at it through the Twitter lens, which we have to stop, or the reality lens? Like, yeah.
But he sees Twitter, and he sees Twitter. We've seen his likes.
So look at the other tweets that say, dude, you almost just got traded for Kevin Durant and Damian Lillard.
Right.
Like,
But I think it's more.
I like my car, but I can't go trade it for I can't trade it for Jimmy Butler's Maserati. And by the way, if you don't like spending $145 in gas, Jimmy, get out of California. Come
back to Florida.
California gas. That was a misleading social media experiment by Jimmy Butler yesterday. Come back to Florida, pay half the price for gas, and be done with it.
He'll be back soon.
$7 a gallon. The only liquid I know of that's $7 a gallon is Grey Goose and Big Face coffee. Aggregate that.
That's good. He'll be back soon.
That's a good line.
It is a good line. We should put that in the
Media Days
title
Monday.
of the podcast.
He won't talk to us.
Will he be there?
He won't be there. He'll be at a Padel tournament somewhere or something. Who knows?
Before we wrap up, the motivation factor that I'm talking about, Tyler, isn't just social media and all that, and being included in trade talks for like the 5th time in 5 years. Every offseason, it feels like he's in trade talks, and that's because he's their best asset, right?
Kid doesn't shave yet. He's been traded 6 times. It's unbelievable.
But it's also the fact of Portland not being interested in him, right? Like there's something to that, and that's been well documented. And that's another NBA team, another NBA front office, making that decision. So I do think there'll be many sources for his motivation, but I think Tyler Hero will have a chip on his shoulder this year. Definitely.
I think he's gonna average 30 something against teams from the state of Washington this season. Yeah, probably.
He might.
I think you're gonna see. We're gonna see All-Star Weekend level drip coming into the arena those nights. It might be IG Live for like 2 hours before the game. Like we're gonna see peak Tyler in those games against Portland.
So you're saying Heat Blazers should still be on national TV?
I mean, look, if we've got to watch it, why shouldn't the rest of the nation? Although you should always listen to Eric and the point guard, John Crotty. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was just doing there. You should listen to Eric and John Crotty, though, because they're nice guys and they really broadcast a fine game. I think this whole experience will motivate Tyler. And I think also, too, like you have two of the master mind game guys in the world, in Pat and Eric. And I'm sure he's going to have hurt feelings about, you guys don't love me. You guys keep trying to move me. You guys don't care. You guys don't want me here. I didn't start. And I'm sure, look, and there's going to be a little part of it too. Like, how would you feel if, you broke your hand and then, the Herald started winning Pulitzers for their NBA playoff coverage last year? Like, I'm sure that's a little part of it. Like, he got hurt and the team went to the finals. Like,
sure. And
he saw the stuff then. This team's better without Tyler Hero. No, it isn't.
Right.
Two things can be true at once. They had a great an unbelievable playoff run, but they're not. Come on. Tyler Hero's a really, really, really good player who has a chance to be a great player. And he's had great moments. He has great moments that show you what the potential is. He's still young and he's still figuring it out. By the way, this just in, Portland has traded Drew Holiday for the rights to Tyler Hero's younger brother. Drew Holiday has been traded to the University of South Carolina. This is also dumb.
I'm kind of glad this is.
What a dumb day. And it's not over. It's not over. Because there's stuff, as soon as we hit end, there's stuff coming.
I know.
I got to figure out how when can I drive to Inter Miami? It's something. I wish we could tell the people, but we can't. I wish we could.
They'll know when they listen to this. Last thing.
They'll know. There's never a last thing.
Last thing. You tweeted this morning. Damian Lillard will be traded this afternoon. I say this because Anthony Chang and I are taping a pod this afternoon, and we both fully expected to be ruined midway through. We got lucky because we might have recorded earlier if we were both available at 11 a.m. We got lucky. So today, luck on our side.
I mean, all I know is I told you that he was going to get traded today. And that's...
You actually did. You told me this on Saturday, I think.
I actually did tell you I'm targeting Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what I knew. Except I didn't know anything.
It's a good prediction, though.
There was a scenario presented to me that something was going to get done yesterday or Tuesday or Wednesday. I was going to say yesterday or today, but people are going to hear this on Thursday. There was one of a billion scenarios floating around out there. I specifically tweeted out he's going to get traded this afternoon, meaning Wednesday, as we're taping this, solely to ruin the pod. Forgetting that you and I will ruin the pod ourselves.
That's true, yeah.
Because the great David Wilson was not here. We will ruin the pod. We didn't need the trade to ruin the pod. We did a bad enough job ourselves.
I probably forgot to hit record, and this is not recording even.
It says you are recording this.
Okay, good. All right, I think that's enough. I think that's enough Dame talk for this week. I'm sure we'll talk more Dame, more Drew Holiday next week. The fallout. Next week is media day. Camp starts Tuesday.
I don't know about this week stuff, buddy.
He'll be back. He'll be back soon.
Oh, I'm retired.
He'll be
hey,
back
one.
Soon.
Can I plug one product?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
I'm plugging a product now. I'm going to do a product.
All right.
The U is 4-0, baby.
They look good. Football town.
It's a basketball town with a hockey, football, and soccer problem. Actually, the thing I was going to plug was, I'm not going to be around really the Heat much for the first month.
Why?
I will announce on the pod. We have breaking news. You don't even know what's coming.
I don't.
Breaking news. It's a red October.
Panthers?
My Phillies are going back to the playoffs.
Yes, they are.
We will win the wild card series.
And you'll be there?
We will beat Atlanta in whatever they call the first round. We will then proceed to sweep the Dodgers in the NLCS. That's right. I said sweep. And then I don't care. I don't care who from the AL you got. I don't care. Give me Baltimore again. Give me the 83 series all over again. The fighting Phils will win the World Series.
That means we'll be watching a lot of Phillies games in the press room.
We're going to be watching a lot of Phillies games in the press room.
Yeah.
A lot. All my questions are going to, I'm just going to ask Spo, what he thinks about Bryce Harper and stuff.
That happened a couple years ago, right? Phillies went to the World Series. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
That would be last year. That would be last year.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That would be last year.
I'm not a huge baseball guy.
Here's the calendar. Phillies go to World Series.
Yeah.
Then the Sirius Christmas channel comes on, which is about the only channel left on Sirius I'll listen to because Justin Termini keeps saying bad words about all of us. Aggregate that. Poor Anthony. I like Justin, but my God, man, lay off. I like Justin a lot, but bro, chill. Quit. Just quit it. Then we take January through April off. Then it's spring training. Well, January through March off. Then spring training. Then it's NBA playoffs.
Well, Dolphins Super Bowl.
Dolphins, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Who would you take right now over the Dolphins?
No, I think they have as good a chance as anybody right now. Obviously, it's so early to need to stay healthy. They need to stay healthy, but
all these things, if healthy, who's stopping them?
I think they have no.
Go back.
Heat Celtics in the day, that Super Bowl Sunday, and then Dolphins 49ers at night. That'd be fun day. That'd be a fun day in sports.
Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee yesterday or the day before, where he's basically breaking down how Mike McDaniel's an evil genius, and I was like, "Yep."
I saw that. Yeah, it's. I can't believe what I'm watching with the Dolphins. As a South Floridian, Miami native, last time Dolphins have won a playoff game was when I was 12 or 11 years old. This is weird.
They're going to make up for it in one fell swoop.
This is weird.
It's a fun team. I'll tell you this. Miami's NFL team is better than Milwaukee's NFL team. It's better than Portland's NFL team. It's better than Tallahassee's NFL team. I'm going to stop there. Well, I'm making you so uncomfortable right now.
You're not, but I know you have to go. So follow him at by Tim Reynolds on Twitter.
Fort Lauderdale soccer team is better than Miami soccer team. We can just keep going if you want.
Follow him at by Tim Reynolds for all his witty tweets, his NBA news, his soccer news, his football news. He's everywhere. Hockey news. He's a must follow.
I'm just a luge guy that never met my potential.
And he'll be back next week.
He will not.
Follow me at Anthony_Chang. There probably will be more Heat news by the time you listen to this, but I hope we covered at least the Damian Lillard portion of this as well as we could. Have a good week.
We could do an emergency pod. Goodbye.
Bye.